John DiCrosta.
Yeah,
That was fun show.
that was.
I was trying to think, see if you remember. Do you remember the first year you worked?
The
for us?
year?
Was it at the Holiday Inn?
Holiday Inn.
I thought so.
It was right by the pool,
Yep. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
and we stayed in the hotel.
In the hotel, right?
Yeah, that was the first. Now,
Because that was 88 to 98 was when we were there.
well, I was. It was definitely closer to 88.
Right.
Um,
I want to. That's what I was thinking. You were right in that first few years.
yeah.
We were
Oh,
open.
yeah.
But and because I've done this. Do you remember how you got hooked up
Yes,
with us?
Rob Lederman.
Oh, that's right.
Rob Lederman.
That's exactly.
He used to come down all the time. And, back in the 80s, when you're a comic from New York, the cherry gigs, it didn't matter about the pay. The cherry gigs that everybody wanted was anywhere in Florida.
Right.
Fort Lauderdale, the comic strip, there was a couple clubs in Miami, Your Room, there was Tampa, anywhere, any of the bunkers, any of those little one-nighters. You just would come down here because we're from upstate New York,
Right.
At least anywhere in New York, and you wanted to get away from that weather.
Right.
So
Right.
I remember Rob Lederman and I were best pals at that time, and he goes, you know what? I got to hook you up with my pal Les, because he had been coming down here. I don't know how much prior you were around when I came in then. How long was he working for you before I came in?
Well,
That's my question.
because I used to go up and work for Rob
Oh, wow.
when he did. He had the
Buffalo and Rochester, but
yeah.
he had Buffalo more.
It was Buffalo. What it was, when I would go up there, and Ken Sons and I think Ken might have gotten to know Rob first,
Mm-hmm.
but he had a weekend. He had the weekend was in a Holiday Inn,
Yeah, that was in Fredonia.
and then no, that's right. Fredonia
That was
the
definitely in a Holiday
weekend?
Inn.
Fredonia was in a Holiday Inn.
Yeah, and that was
I
a one
think
night.
he had a weekend in Buffalo
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
I think Fredonia was like a Thursday night or something.
Yeah, it was a one night.
Tonawanda was
Tonawanda.
Wednesday night in the
Yeah.
Palace,
Yeah,
whatever that
yeah,
place
yep.
was. And
Then they had the Riviera Theater.
yes.
Yeah, the Town Theater. He had a lot of theater gigs back then before he
Right.
built his club.
right. And
Um,
by then I wasn't touring anymore.
Yeah.
And I don't think he was either.
Yeah.
He was doing the radio thing.
Yeah.
And do you stay in touch with Rob?
Yeah, I worked Erie, Pennsylvania. I don't do many land clubs anymore. I do about 7 or 8 land clubs, and I met a magician on the cruise ships that I work, and he owns a comedy club in Erie, Pennsylvania called Keller's Magic and Comedy Club. Keller's is named after, apparently, this guy, Harry Keller, was Frank L. Baum's inspiration for the wizard in The Wizard of Oz.
Oh.
And he was a magician, and he was, I think Houdini didn't train under him, but he looked up to this Harry Keller guy from Erie. He was around before Harry Houdini, I think, if I'm not getting the dates wrong. But anyway, so Bobby kind of got off the road. He still works ships and clubs here and there, but he built his own room. It used to be Junior's.
Okay.
In Erie, and he owns the same building, and that club it's like this. Everything is done properly. Great green room. Can I get you anything? He packs the room. If ticket sales are weird, they got telemarketers filling seats.
Because he's an entertainer.
He wants right.
Yes.
And that, I think, makes all the difference.
Sure
in
it
the world.
does. He builds it the way he would want it for
Yeah.
himself.
So I was in Erie, and that's only an hour from Buffalo. So
Right.
Rob came out and saw me.
Right.
And
it's weird. I've been going up to Buffalo.
yeah.
Because for different reasons. But Dick Smothers married who lives down here half the year, and as you know,
Sure.
and married Marie. Marie's from Buffalo.
Yep.
So they got married up
Yep.
there. We go up there, and then My friends had their boat up there last year, but I don't know why I have not hooked up with Rob.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I think I've tried to contact him, or we've gone back and forth. Maybe he's not in town or something.
He's not great with returning anything. Voice messages, texts. He's not, to this day, he's not a social guy. Social media guy.
Got ya.
I mean, his phone is all about his kids and his wife, which is awesome.
Right.
And whatever gig he's got going that weekend. But as far as like
is he still doing the radio thing?
No.
No.
That ended pretty abruptly.
Oh, what did he do?
I can't.
You
say
really? You can't say?
No.
It was bad?
I will tell you off the air.
Okay. It was, so it wasn't woke. It was unwoke.
What's I don't know how to answer that.
It was,
he said something that that wasn't acceptable anymore.
Yeah.
So it was wokeness.
Yeah, it was wokeness.
It was the beginning of the wokeness movement.
It wasn't what Paula Dean said, right?
No.
Okay. And I love this 20 questions.
No, I can't.
What Rob
I'm not
did.
at liberty. I'll tell you after. Oh, sorry, Rob.
Oh, well, Rob's a great guy.
He's a
great wonderful
guy.
person.
I mean, love his kids.
I've never known him to have a mean bone in his body.
I've known his kids since they were born, and in fact, his youngest, Mari, is she's a supermodel now.
Really?
Yes, and twice. I've been going to a ship in Belize or whatever, and she's on my plane from LA. And I'm like, sweetheart, when you're here, please call me. I will bring you to lunch.
Yeah.
I've seen her like just come up the aisle past me. I'm like, hello.
That's
but
awesome.
she's killing it modeling.
What did she work for, like Ford or something?
One of the main ones in New York City.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a female's name that you would recognize.
Okay.
Wilhelmina, maybe? I don't know. I'm not positive.
Yeah. That's fantastic.
Great kids. Jolie's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome, man.
Yep.
Yeah, that was fun.
I've known him since forever. And you know what? This industry, this business, we're not talking about what I do in LA. We're talking about, but that too. But comedy, dude, you think about that. Let's say it was late 80s, early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
We've known each other and we're still friends and working together 30 plus years later.
38.
Yeah.
Almost 40 years.
Yeah. And like Rob, I think I was going close to 40, 45 years.
Yes.
And I can name 10 to 20 guys, and thanks to Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff, you can still talk to these guys. But I have 10 to 15 guys that I'm still really close with that I worked with in the 80s in the clubs, in the 90s.
Well, and the thing about it is, how often, because we've had this conversation before, not just with you, but I've had this conversation with other comics, unique to our group. How many times are you really face to face with that person? Maybe once or twice a year?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Oh, yeah.
I told people, I go, I would say it's more than 20. You know, it's probably more in that 40 or 50 comics that both of us, do you know Les McCurdy? He's a good friend of mine. Do you know Orny Adams? A good friend of mine. You know John DiCrosta? A good friend of mine.
Yeah.
You would say that. Now, we see each other once a year to year and a half.
Yeah.
We connect with each other maybe 2 or 3 times during the year.
Right.
And that's our relationship. Yet we're close friends.
Yeah.
We're good friends.
And you literally pick right up.
And I tell people, I go, people that tell me they can't make a friend, you ain't even fucking trying, man. Because it doesn't take a lot to stay in somebody's life.
No.
You know
just
what
got
I
to
mean?
open the communication.
Exactly right.
And you know, I've there's a handful of guys that, you know, it's just like any relationship. When you go, you're starting the conversation over and over and over, and they don't initiate the conversation. Then you're like, you know what? I'll be over here if you want to chat. You know what I mean?
Well, you know, text has kept me in touch with so many people.
Sure.
And the other thing with a lot of not just comics, but a lot of my friends, I know the sports team that teams that they're really into.
Sure.
So whenever a game comes up, I text them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And always, it's an easy way to stay in touch, with people and that sort of thing. Yeah. But it's incredible how long. And
you think about it, there's a lot of guys that I know that are not even in the business anymore.
Oh God, yeah.
And I still, to this day, I've been doing this 50 years. I started when I was 12,
right,
as a ventriloquist, and I'm doing birthday parties and shit like that. And so I've been performing for 50 years. I still love performing as much as I did 10, 15, 30, 20, 45 years ago. And I still love the science of comedy and why things get a laugh. Why does this get a laugh and why does this not get a laugh? How can I change this to turn this perfectly good joke that I thought would work? How can I work it? Is it a word? Is it the pacing? All that kind of stuff. I came up with something last night here, and Chris can vouch for this. I came up something on the spur of the moment last night, and it crushed. And it hit immediately. And you know what? Your club lends I don't know about your club for everyone. Our relationship and my relationship with the club, that I've been doing this so long. It's like one of my homes, and I just feel like I can try anything and they're okay with it.
Yeah.
And so I threw something out last night and it just blew them away. And tonight I did it. Same big laugh. So, I mean, it stays now. And that's how I work.
What you got to tell me which one
well,
is it? What's the fucking...
Honey, if you're watching this, you need to turn it off now. I said, I was talking about oral sex. And I said, I don't do that anymore. I said, I don't go below here, right where her boobs are. and I did that last night, and it particularly works in this room, because it's a little older.
Oh, of course.
And so when I said that last night, they just boom, immediate, and I'm like, ta-da! And that's how I work, and I still feed off that. 50 years later, when you come up with a new line or a new bit or a new chunk or a new story, I still get the same charge.
Oh yeah.
There's a bit that I've been working on since COVID that I haven't mastered yet, but I know it's going to be a solid piece of the show eventually, about how I was getting a haircut and how I got a little too excited for the haircut. And it's a very funny visual. It's a funny story. It doesn't need embellishing at all. I've had breakfast with so many comics saying it doesn't need an ending. Just tell it. And I have, and it gets a lot of laughs, but I'm a perfectionist and I need a ta-da at the end. I need a dismount. I need a final punchline to wrap everything up. So I'm still working on that. But there's no bigger joy that I take in working shit like that out.
Well, that without a doubt, and it's, I don't know. I'm trying to think in any other performance art if there's that
music, maybe
that you have a song that connects. I don't know, maybe. We were talking about this the other day. Isn't it weird? And I don't think this is so much the case with comics. Isn't it weird that, especially with, it seems like with music, especially, most artists write their best stuff in their 20s and 30s, and then they get older, and you would think with the life experience and everything that the poetry would get so much
better. You have more life experience.
It would get, but it doesn't.
No.
And I think what happens is as people get older, they get safer.
Well, they
don't
safer,
take as much risk.
They get lazy and complacent.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a hard thing to hear, especially if you're a comic. I work with many guys that I'm not saying I don't do bits from 20 years ago.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
If they're still working, they're not dated.
No.
They still work.
Absolutely.
But my point is, I still love coming up with that new 10.
Yes.
I mean, I had people the last 2 nights that have come to see me here for 30 years saying, oh, but we missed the thing about the donuts. I understand that. The glasses are in my pocket, but I ran out of time because I had 18 new minutes from when I was here last.
Absolutely.
And I want to do those. those Freebird moments for the fans, but sometimes you got to do shit off the new album.
Well, there's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. And to me, I mean, I've got bits that were, I mean, strong bits, same thing, that I ain't done in fucking 15 years.
Yeah.
And you ever gone into one of those bits like on the spur of the moment, you know, just kind of something rolled into it.
Sure.
And you start into it and you go, I don't know how this fucking
Oh
thing
yeah.
is.
After COVID, that was 90%. That was 90% of my act.
I can remember.
You want to hear something? You want to hear a great story? You ready for this? So on the ship, I have 5 shows.
Yeah.
I have actually 6 shows. I have 6 30-minute shows.
Mm-hmm.
We only have to do 5 on most ships. We do 3 adult shows and 2 family shows. When we came back after COVID, I was out of work for 512 days. I didn't perform. And when we came back, I'm not going to mention this person's name. I adore her. She's a super fan of mine. And she lives in Los Angeles. And I adore her. Well, I was about to do my 5th show, which is my 3rd rated R, which is packed with old material. But it still kills. It still works. It's still valid. It's not dated. It's not about a president or a personality on TV. So anyway, dude, the morning of that show, my first time back after COVID, I was in full panic mode because I forgot how 90% of that. Well, how did I get from this to this? I don't remember. And all those throwaways and those transitions and the segues, all that shit is the first to go. And then I couldn't remember big chunks. So I called my friend up. This is so weird. She's a super fan and I adore her for that. But I called her up and I go, hey, so-and-so. I said, Remember my first CD, Character Witness? She goes, yep, got it. I was like, wait, what? She goes, yep. What do you need? I go, hey, the thing I do about the condoms and the farts. She goes, yep, got it here. Track 12. And I'm like, okay, no. It's like she was sitting at one of those desks with all the envelope slots and she had it right in front of her. She goes, yep, got it. And I go, and I talk about condoms and farts. Yep, track 12. Okay, what do you need?
I need to hire you.
So you know what I had? I had her I hung up the phone and I had her play the CD on my Facebook Messenger so I could have it, and I transcribed my act.
Nice. Perfect.
I had to transcribe my own act and write it down. I'm like, oh, that's how it went.
I've had people come up to me, and I'm sure it's happened to you. Chris Gorgeous is over here, who's also working. This is the other laugh you're hearing. I've had people come up to me and go, I used to love when you do the blah blah blah.
Isn't that funny?
And I mean,
You're
I'm
like,
literally
I didn't
going.
do that.
I can barely remember that I did something like that. And then they're reciting it to me. They're telling me the whole thing just like that. And I'm sitting there going, yeah, that was pretty fucking good, wasn't it?
And sometimes it's not you. They're remembering somebody else. I have a good enough memory to know that was not me. Yeah, it was. It wasn't me. It might have been the other guy you saw tonight. No. It was you. And you said about the thing. I'm like, no, I never did that joke. But sometimes you're like, oh my God, I got to bring that back.
Yeah, exactly right.
My cousin Mark, who has seen me more than anybody in the world, he was one of those guys. He has a photographic memory. Mm-hmm. And he was one of those guys that even way before COVID, if I would go, hey, Mark, remember that bit I used to do about the Italian lady shaving? He goes, yeah, and you said this and that and the other thing. I'm like, that's what I said. Isn't that funny how, but that's all part of us expanding our material.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, you totally, like, dude, there's so many things in my act now that are towards the beginning that I used to close with.
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
That's what
and you're like, this was my closer?
Right.
And I'm doing this 8 minutes in, and it's just funny how things, but
that's,
I can't get enough.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the great thing is that you're, I mean, I don't want to say this is a bad thing and you led into, the type of entertainer that gets this pat show and it works. And then they just stick with it.
Well,
their whole life.
It goes back
pretty
to
much.
laziness and complacency.
But it works.
It does work.
And I was talking with a comic one time. This is when the internet just started to blow up, and people were starting to go viral. Right, that whole concept of going viral was just starting.
YouTube and all that.
Right, and I remember having this conversation with a few people, and I was going, man, that closer that you do, you need to put that out there.
Yeah.
Because, that could be the thing that goes viral and really hooks an audience for you. And they go, but then what would I do? Yeah. Well, you write more material.
That's why Jay Leno has none of his stuff out there.
I
heard him say somewhere on some interview that none of his stuff is online because he doesn't want somebody showing up and saying, but he's of all people always writing, developing. He just doesn't want it out there. He doesn't want people tired of him.
Well, he doesn't need to.
And I get that. And it does go with a lot of, like, I had a guy greet me when I parked my car on Wednesday night, and I have people more and more on the ship now. He greeted me on the way in, and he goes, I see you still have the mustache. And I go, yeah. I go, have you seen the show? He goes, no, I checked you. We were coming tonight, and I checked on you online. And I'm like, oh, okay. So people do their research and watch the bit, and then when they come inside, they just watched it at dinner.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
So I
don't like to put too much of my stuff out there either, because like I said, I have 5 shows on this ship. I have show 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When I come here, I have a club set. But it's so refreshing to come back to a club you've worked for so long and go and have people say, we love the new things. And they say, oh, but remember the thing you used to do about the... And I'm like, I love both of those.
Well, the statement that got me one time when I was talking to a comic about it, who's our age, and who'd never created a following, good, solid comic, but just never created a following. And now you've got this ability to maybe make that happen. And so I go, I think there's a point where you got to grab your fucking cojones, take your very best shit, and put it out there and see. And here's what he said to me. He goes, but what if everybody sees it? And I go, did you hear what you just said? Yeah. Say that in your head again.
Yeah.
Everybody sees it. If everybody sees it, that means everybody wanted to see it. Everybody's not going to see it by accident.
Yeah.
The story, and I know I've told this before, but I love this. You know who Chris Bliss is?
Sure.
Okay. So Chris and I had been going back and forth for years, just years ago, about bringing him in because he was good friends with several comics that, but Chris was solid in Vegas, right? Mm-hmm. And he could not justify coming here for less than an amount of money that was easily double what I normally pay. And I knew he wasn't going to sell Ticket Ass One.
Right.
So it just didn't make sense, financially to do it. So he has that closer. He's the boss of the balls.
Sure.
And he has that closer where he juggles to a Beatles song or something.
And he has the keyboard.
Exactly. So one day,
it's a brilliant piece.
Exactly. So one day, this is back again when viral was just starting to happen. Right. I open up our newspaper, and that's how long it was. I opened up a fucking newspaper.
Wow, the 70s.
I opened up a newspaper. I know.
I saw a man reading a newspaper on the airplane. I'm like, where did you get that? In your time machine? Where do they sell newspapers in an airport now? Anyway,
I opened up Sarasota Herald Tribune. On the second page, the top third of the paper was a headline about comedian it doesn't say viral back then, but comedian catches fire, on the internet or something like that.
Right.
And then I see that, and of course I see comedian, and then I look down and I see Chris Bliss.
Oh boy.
And I start reading the article, and he's gone crazy, right?
Yeah.
So I immediately call him.
And it was that closer, I'll bet. Right.
I go, Chris, I saw the thing in the paper. He goes, let me tell you what happened. You ain't gonna believe it. He goes, that closing, the video of my closer has been on my website for 12 years.
Oh, wow.
12 years. Because it's part of how I get corporate work.
Sure.
It's people, it's my thing. It's my hook, right?
Yeah.
But it's been out there for fucking ever, forever. And he goes, one morning, and this, like, by the time this article had gotten in the paper, this had already happened like 3 months ago, right? And he goes, or a couple of months ago. So he goes, one morning I get up and I go to my, website thing, and the views are, they're spinning. They're going, the views are just going. So he goes, I call up my web guy who takes care of, and I go,
hey,
the fucking thing's broke. It's busted. I don't know where the fuck's, it's fucked up, right? So he goes, okay, I'll check it out. He goes, no, Chris, it ain't fucking broke. It's that
people are clicking.
They're clicking.
Wow, imagine seeing that.
So
I remember back in those days, you could see the little clicker.
Yes, and it exploded.
That's
it
funny.
exploded. And so I was like, cool. I go, let's get your ass in here. He goes, Les, I am already booked for a year and a half.
Yeah.
And he goes, no clubs. It's all performance arts halls. It's it's either me in 1,000, 1,500 seat type of theater, or it's me opening for a big act.
Right.
And he goes, I'm booked for a year and a fucking half. And he made a shit pot of money over about a 2 or 3 year period, and then it fizzled out. It ran its course, and it had its thing, So that's where I was like, oh, fuck, you never know.
Then he came in here for nachos and a beer.
He's never been here.
Oh, it's a shame.
But it's
a shame.
Okay. That's okay. It's all right. But
it's cyclical, man. I know a lot of guys that I've been working with in the cruise industry that are, our age, and they've realized, and they've succumbed to, I got to do this now. Yeah. This is part of, I know 3 or 4 guys that aren't social media guys that have just handed their shit over to a media manager, and they post their shit all the time.
Well, that's what I have.
Yeah.
I hired a guy. Yeah. I go, that's not me. I knew that years ago. I go, that's not me. But if I don't hire a media manager, I'm going to get left in the fucking dirt,
Yeah, it's part of it.
And the thing about it is, for every person that has that viral thing and it works, me and you both know there's 10,000 others trying.
These days,
it's hard to do.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
Nope.
It's not easy.
No, and for that one clip to catch, it's like Christella with the nail salon lady, or any of these people Vic with the got eggs and milk and bread. It's one of those things. If that clicks, it can turn it into income.
Yeah, where all of a sudden these comics, who's the Southern lady that blew up? That's been
the
around
blonde
forever. Yeah. But these are those comics that they've been out there as fucking long as we have.
Sure.
And then all of a sudden, but that's the great thing about it, is that the possibilities there.
Yeah.
But and you got the grandson.
Grandson I never thought I could love anything.
We talked about that.
Oh my God.
It's
just amazing. And my schedule is so weird, where I could be home for literally 13 hours and then I'm out again.
Mm-hmm.
And and I understand that, my son and my daughter-in-law, they have lives and they have successful businesses. And so they're busy and might not be around when I'm around. So now 2-3 days before I come home, I'm like, all right, I'm home Thursday to Monday. I want to see the boy. So I got to make an appointment to see my
Do
grandson.
you ever just take care of him? Just you
Well,
with
it's
him?
funny because we just were having lunch recently, and they had to go somewhere for 2 hours, and they're like, "Yeah, we got to bring the baby over to my mother-in-law's," and I'm like, "You know what? I raised 2 boys. I can do it." And my son said, "Oh, Mom said not till he's like 1.5, 2 years old," and I'm like, I didn't say that. I go, I didn't know that was a thing. I go, no, I could watch him yesterday.
Yes.
I said, I raised 2 boys. I know how to babysit a boy. I said, yeah, tomorrow. So I haven't yet. And I told him, I said, let's do this. Get a little notebook and write down, okay, he should be eating here. He should be napping here.
Yeah.
And I can do all the rest. But let's try 2 or 3 hour shifts.
Yes.
And we'll take it from there. But
Yes.
holy God.
Yeah. When it's like when you're in town going, hey, y'all go have a night out.
Yeah.
I know, you know.
Yeah.
Well, you know, when I was, I had a similar situation with my first niece, Avery. I was living out of my dad's basement, where I grew up, in Chattanooga, because back then you're never home.
Sure.
You just needed a place to throw your shit. You just need a home base. And so, my sister had just had Avery. She wasn't walking yet. And at some point, same thing. I was home and she was talking about this, that, and the other. And I go, I'll watch Avery. She's looking at me like, I go, look, I'm a grown ass fucking man. I can take care of the baby, And she was like, okay, well, let's try it. And so anytime I was home, I'd let her know. I go, I'm going to be home.
Yeah.
And every time I was home, at least if I was home for 5 days, at least a couple days while she was I have her all day.
Yeah.
And she was in a little swing.
Yeah. I mean,
and I would sit and back then you're making phone calls to get dates.
Sure.
And I remember I go, all right, Avery, this guy's a jerk. And let's see if I can get through this son of a bitch this time,
If the conversation lasts more than 10 minutes, start screaming so I can hang up on his ass.
But we really, and to this day, Avery and I have a bond.
Sure.
Because she
It's
knows,
important.
she can't remember,
Right,
obviously.
of course.
But she knows, I go, you were the first baby that I ever took care of,
Yeah.
But just to know that you have that time together. And then once they get comfortable with it,
of course,
and it won't take long.
Then they look forward to going over there
That's
because
right.
it's
They'll
not
look-
the
they
same
go-
old mom
they
and
go,
dad.
Oh, what's your handle? Do you know yet?
They've chosen the same thing my boys called my dad, which is Papa.
Okay, I started as Papa, and it's morphed into just Pop.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
So
And my grandfather was Papa.
but
too.
I know it'll be fine, and I would love to give it a shot soon. And I have a 3-bedroom place, and the 3rd bedroom was my son's. They shared a bedroom.
Yeah.
And when they moved out about, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, I guess it was right after COVID, I've been into this Tiki culture, cocktails and conventions and collectors mugs and all that stuff. And I turned their bedroom into a Tiki bar. Oh. So I have over 150 mugs, and then on the walls I have skulls that are on fire and shattering teeth.
Perfect for a child.
And shit like that. He loves that room. I go, you want to go in the skeleton room? So his eyes light up. There's, skull and crossbones on the wall. It's going...
Sure.
And there's torches with flames
Visual
coming out of guys'
stimulation.
heads and stuff. And
Dig it.
he loves that room.
Dig it. Yeah, that's going to be the thing. I guarantee you, man. They're going to come with, and then they're going to go, fuck, Pop's going to be back in town for 3 days. We're going to have some time. We could actually go do something.
Yeah.
We could go to a fucking ball game.
And Disneyland, hello.
Oh, yeah.
I'm there once a month. So, I mean, if I could...
We haven't been to Disney in so long, but Zayden at 6 now has just started to ask about going to Disney, and
I think 6, 7 is perfect.
Yeah, they don't remember
under that. It's just a day in a stroller.
Yeah.
It's just not worth it.
They don't remember.
It's just not worth it.
You know, I can remember now Busch Gardens here had, when Taylor was little, and I want to say 4 or 5, they had a kids area. And I guess they still do
most
Busch Gardens
parks,
with little kid rides.
Yeah,
and they had a water thing where the kids could just play in the water and shit like that. And we used to go over and do that, you know. But I tell you, Taylor went to Disney so much because when we right after we got married, Pam somehow hooked up with this girlfriend of hers that she was a roommate with in college, and she's working for Disney.
Oh, wow.
So back then, now this was the 80s, right? 80s, 90s, right?
Yeah.
No, 90s, really. Back then, she could literally walk us in the back gate and have fun.
Oh, wow.
You know?
Yeah.
And so we go to Disney all the time. And let me tell you something. When you're in Disney for free, it is so not stressful.
Well, it's like I have my annual pass. It's the same thing.
Yeah, I know.
You're like, if I don't get on this, I'll go next week.
I know. It's lovely to go to Disney and feel like, oh, if we're just going to be here for let's just go have lunch and hang out for a couple of hours instead of that stress of, we've invested $6,000 into this day.
Oh yeah.
You know,
some people save for a long, long time to go. One of the worst things I ever saw a person tell her kid at Disneyland, dude. All right. First of all, you ready for this? This is the worst. I'm a Disney freak.
Right.
So I'm sitting at start my day. I don't know. I haven't been to Disney World in a while. I've been there probably 20, 25 times. But on Main Street, on the left, there's Carnation Cafe. I like starting my day there before the velvet rope drops. And I get my Mickey waffle and my fruit and my coffee. And I sit by a table for 2 right by the wrought iron, by the wrought iron fence. And there's Main Street right next to me.
Right.
Dude, there was this lady walking her 2 children down Main Street at 7:45 a.m. 7:45 a.m. They don't drop the velvet rope until 8 a.m. Now, the boy was in the umbrella stroller. He was snot bubble crying. His face was full of tears, snot, mucus, drool, just a mess. At 7:45, holding on to the umbrella stroller was his big sister, who was probably 5 or 6. This kid was barely 2. And I'm thinking to myself, what has happened in your day that you are screaming bloody murder at 7:45 while I'm trying to enjoy my Mickey waffle? What could have happened from the parking garage to half of Main Street to make you do this? And you could tell this mother was stressing because he wouldn't stop. Nothing probably was working. Dude, she lost her shit. I'm sitting there. I had a fork of Mickey ear with syrup on my fork. And she goes, she gets in front of him, inches from his face, and squats right in front of him. And she screams at him. She goes, "You better shut your mouth or I will fuck you up right here at Disneyland." Oh my God! I've never heard anything so mean. So she's inches. I will fuck you up right here in Disneyland. And I had a fork full of Mickey. And I dropped my fork, and it hit the plate, and she's 10 yards from me. I go, you have got to be fucking kidding me. She comes over to the fence, she gets in my face, and she goes, and you mind your goddamn business.
I can't believe security wasn't there.
And then within, I don't know, 30 seconds, boys and girls, mothers and fathers, welcome to the happiest place on earth.
Oh, God. And I'm going to assume the kid went crazy.
Was petrified. He was like that woman that turned into a pillar of salt in the Bible. He was just staring like, holy shit, I might have just crossed the line. But can you imagine how the rest of their day went?
Not well.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. No.
I will.
Oh, God.
I will. So I've told so many people that story, and I have a very, very dear friend.
You should tell that on stage.
I have a dear friend of mine who's a comic, and they're moving. They're leaving Southern California, and his wife is from Southern California.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, hey, man, we're moving, and my wife is from Southern California. He goes, I hate Disneyland. He goes, would you take my wife to Disneyland before we move? And I'm like, of course. I'll be glad to take your wife to Disneyland. But I said, you're going too, right? He goes, yeah, probably not. And I'm like, oh, okay, sure. So he ended up going, but I told them that story, and I showed them right where it happened. So the rest of the day, when we would be talking, I would say something like, if we were in Galaxy's Edge, I'm like, all right, I'm just going to run to the restroom, and then I'll meet you here by the Alien drink. And she goes, yeah. She goes, she said, you better, because if you don't, I will fuck you up.
That's the running.
It was the running thing the whole day.
Oh, because we've all seen those families with the kids.
Dude.
You go when down here, especially. I go when people. I mean, I've got nieces and nephews that have kids now, and this, that, and the other, and they'll have the annual passes or whatever, and they'll go, "Hey, yeah, we're gonna go over to Disney this weekend." I go, "It's July. Yeah. Do I have to say anything? It is July in Orlando.
Yeah.
It couldn't be any hotter on the fucking sun. It's 95 degrees, feels like 108.
Inside of Space Mountain.
100% humidity, and you're going to fucking Disney with the children?
Yeah.
Are you fucking out of your mind?
No.
But that fucking place is, this summer, this blew my fucking mind. Somebody was telling me, they go, yeah, we went over to Disney and we didn't have reservations and we couldn't get in. I go, what? They go, it was full. Fucking full.
Oh, yeah. Well, we went after COVID, Disneyland went to reservations only too now. Yeah, it's probably the same thing.
But I mean,
COVID, they wanted to number the amount of people in the park, and they're still doing it.
Well,
Disneyland is. You have to buy a ticket.
Well, I know that.
And then you reserve a day.
But I think, now they're not like worried about people.
They're not, but I think they got used to controlling the population and the numbers.
Yeah, that makes
and they
sense.
kind of are still sticking with it. But
that's fucking wild.
I know.
That they go,
I know.
fucking sold out. Disney is sold out.
Like as a pass holder, when I go to make a reservation, and I go to my calendar, sometimes, like we have 2 parks. You guys have 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have 2 parks, California Adventure and Disneyland. And so it'll have the 2 little logos, and sometimes both of those will be grayed out, meaning we're at capacity that day, or only one will be available, or both will be available. If as an annual pass holder, when you go to the park, if they're both available, you have to choose which park you want to start your day in, and you cannot go to the other park until 11 a.m.
Man, and I've said this a million times till Tuesday. You know, here we talk about the economy, people struggling, people bitching about grocery prices. How am I going to feed my family? Blah, 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 blah. Disney, Universal Studios,
Yeah.
Busch Gardens, packed.
Yep.
Fucking packed.
I don't
And
see
it
how
is-
families do it.
I go to you go there, you go to a football game, you go to any of those kind of things where you go and you see a family of 4 and you go, they are spending for a fucking baseball game,
So that's
for a family of
2,000.
4 spending $1,000 fucking dollars.
Yes, easy.
You know, and of course Disney is boom way up there.
Way up.
And all this shit is sold the fuck out. And John, I look around at these people and I'm like, they don't look like country clubbers. No. You know what I mean? I hate to say it, but they don't look like they're members of the country club.
No.
And I'm going, what are these fuckers doing for a living? Where does this money fucking come from?
Yeah.
And I'm betting you these are the same people that are bitching about gas prices.
Yeah, and eggs.
Eggs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's crazy. I know.
They're going to fucking Disney.
Priorities.
I know. It truly blows my fucking mind. It truly does, you know. Holy shit.
Yep. That's crazy.
It is. It's amazing. It's amazing. Well, it's good to have you back.
Yeah,
buddy,
man.
As
always.
Thanks for chatting.
It's like I do so many shows on the cruise ships and
cruise ships have saved this industry.
Yeah,
I
mean, we have the largest comedy club in the world on Carnival. I do Carnival, and we have a comedy club on every ship, and it allows me to do 3 hours of material for every group of people.
Yeah.
And the beauty is when I'm home in Los Angeles, like New York or Chicago or Boston, it's got a million comedy clubs. The last place I want to be is a comedy club, because if I come out with something new, if I come up with a new bit, I have 3 hours to weave it into a show on the ship. Yeah. And this club is similar to that, to where whenever I come here, I like to come with 10 to 15 brand new minutes.
Sure.
5 to 10 minutes of old shit that I've reworked.
Yeah.
And then, the old favorites, because I have a following here, and a lot of people go, oh, we missed the bit about the such and such. Stick and Fork. Remember Stick and Fork? I'm like, yeah, I remember Stick and Fork. And I'm like, but it's beauty, because, I look at that clock and I'm like, fuck, this used to be my ending and I'm at 27 minutes.
And you did it. You opened your show with it this time. Me and a buddy of mine, John, when we play golf, God damn it, has become, and we never say it unless when we're playing together, because nobody else knows the thing. But you hit a fucked up shot, God damn it, and then the other one they go, you stir the sauce, I mean, we do that to this fucking day. and just giggle at that silly shit.
I used to do a thing about buying tampons for your wife, and I used to do the Italian guy. I go, I gotta buy. I didn't even forget how the bit used to go, but it was an Italian guy buying tampons for his wife at the grocery store, and he goes, "Yeah, I gotta buy him for this one over here." And my friend Buddy.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah. I go, what do we have to buy for the ladies? And the guy, I got to buy the plugs.
The plugs.
I got to buy the plugs for this one over here. So my friend Buddy, he always used, when he was with his wife at the market, and when they would be in that aisle, he'd go, yeah, I got to buy these for this one over here.
I know. And that's the beauty of comedy.
Catchphrases are great.
Well, knowing that you not only make people laugh during a show, but there's so much of what all of us do that catches people. Sure. and it becomes a part of their existence.
Yeah.
You know, it is when they need a laugh, it's kind of one of those go-to things that they can do.
Like my Dunkin' Donuts piece is my free bird.
Yeah.
And if I don't do it, that's the thing that they're most upset about, that I left out. And then on the other hand, if I do fit it into a show, like at a club like this where I have, as soon as I go into it, I hear 30 people in the room. Oh, this is the one. This is the joke. Remember the joke I was telling you
we
about?
were just, Pam and I, we're at the airport.
Yeah.
Going to Starbucks.
Yeah.
Coffee? She goes, yes, I have coffee. Sugar?
Cream.
Sugar? And we'll sit there and do that. And we'll do it out loud. And the people around us are like,
what are you talking
these fucking people doing?
They got Tourette's?
But it just makes sense.
I know.
It's the inside joke.
Fun.
Yeah, it is fun. It is fun. And of course they think they're sitting there going, these two fuckers are making fun of Indian people, and there's not even an Indian person here. Where's the Indian person they're even making fun of?
And they're saying now if they were in a Dunkin' Donuts, maybe they would get a laugh.
There's the show starting.
All
right.
I got to put my makeup on.
I got to go pee. Gotta pee.
Are you coming back? If you don't, I'm going to fuck you up
fuck you
right
up.
here in McCurdy.
Fuck out.